So anyway, they tell me that this is beautiful. They come to me and they say, listen, Dateline NBC had already run a 1 hour special on me. They said, Dateline wants to interview you. And I went, okay, well, I don't want to be interviewed. And my lawyer says, the U.S. attorney said they'll consider it substantial assistance, which means we'll reduce your sentence because you substantially assist. Keep in mind, me going in and cooperating and telling them what happened didn't do me any good because everybody had already cooperated. You understand, you rat out everybody, you snitch on everybody, and then they all get bumped off and you get credit for that. Well, you can't get that done if everybody's already told on you. So it's like I'm just in just a shitty position. So, I'd love to tell you, Shaun, I'd love to tell you that I'm a gangster and that I held strong and I just took it on the chin and did the fucking time. But the truth is, I'm not a fucking gangster. I'm a white-collar criminal. I don't know anything about any code. I never signed anything. Nobody ever told me about a code. I'm ready to cut everybody's fucking throat to get out of prison. And that's just the fucking way it is. So, look, I'm the softest cotton, bro. I can't go to a fucking prison. I'm thinking I'm going to Shawshank. I've got nothing but nightmare scenarios about prison. I'm thinking I'm going to have the prison experience that you had. Like a state prison. That's what I know. I don't realize I'm going to a federal prison, and I don't even know that there are different levels. I thought they were all the same. I didn't know I was going to go. I still did end up going to a rough prison, but unlike the one you went to, there weren't gangs that were really forced upon you. Like if you were just like neutral, then you're neutral. So what ends up happening is they ask me to be interviewed by Dateline. I get interviewed by Dateline. They come in, they interview me. And then when I'm done with the interview, I go to get sentenced, and the U.S. attorney, my what's called a pre-sentence report, says that they want to give me 26 years. So yeah, it's bad. So and I said, okay, yeah, but you're going to reduce the sentence. My public defender said they'll reduce your sentence for doing Dateline. Well, the night before my sentencing, I call her and she says, she called the U.S. attorney and asked what the recommendation was going to be. And she said, well, I thought about it and it's just not enough. Like what he did isn't enough to reduce his sentence. I went, what are you talking about? They said they'd consider it substantial assistance. She goes, and they did, and it's not enough. So I go to sentencing, and they recommend 26 years and 4 months, and I get 26 years and 4 months. My lawyer was still the whole time telling me, I'm going to argue, don't worry, we're going to get it down. You're looking at 12 years. I get in front of the fucking judge. He's not listening to anything she says. It's just 26 years. It's bad. And then they bring up everything. They bring up the fact that I signed the satisfaction with C. Montgomery Burns. They bring up, that everything ends up being tweaked to make you sound like a supervillain. And I'm not saying what I did was run of the mill, but they tried to really make it seem sinister. So anyway, I get 26 years. I go to prison. I end up going to a medium security prison. And the first day I was there, somebody got stabbed. The first day. So I was like, the fuck am I? There are gangs and stuff. And I remember thinking, this is bad. You know what really was my saving grace was that within a month or so of me being there, like I barely left the unit, but within a month or so of me being there, the guy that taught the real estate class didn't want to do it anymore. He came to me and said, do you want to teach the real estate class? And I went, sure. Yeah, I'll teach it. It's something to do. So I started teaching the real estate class. And, everybody thinks they're going to get into real estate and make tons of money, even these guys. So I started teaching the real estate class. So, I really did pretty well. And then I became a GED tutor, which is the general equivalency. to get your diploma for high school. So I started doing it, being a tutor for the education department, and I taught the real estate class, and I had 26 years. I mean, that's, I obviously didn't do 26 years. I did 12 and a half years. And basically, there's a whole other story that happens while I was in prison and how I got myself out of prison early, like less than half. Keep in mind, in the federal system, you do 85, you really did about 87%. People say 85%, but really before Trump passed this law, it was said 85, but it ended up always being 87% of your time. So whatever, you do basically 85% of your time. So 26 years, I got to do like 24 years. It's fucking ridiculous. So anyway, I mean, do you want to do another one?
Yeah, I've got a few questions on what you've just said so far. Love to do part 2 about all your prison stuff as well. You're welcome back anytime, Matt. Like I said in the very beginning, I've spoke to you for over an hour right now. It just seems like 5 minutes. You're just so good at telling your story. My first question is, what motivated your girlfriend's girlfriend to turn you in?
I think the newspapers, well, not the Secret Service said, and Becky said that she called the Secret Service, and I think she got a reward for like $10,000. 10 grand. I'd have given her $1 million for a 10-minute head start. It's just, I don't know. You understand too, the person that they were portraying me as, and when she looked into it, I'm sure she thought, oh, this is a horrible guy. Like they said, one of the things they said was like, he's armed and dangerous. I'm not armed. First of all, only danger I pose is the financial institutions. I'm not danger. I mean, I'm not armed. I never had a weapon. But they try and make you seem extreme, like this really horrible villain. And so, look, she did the right thing. I was wanted. I was on the run. I was a criminal. She called the authorities. She turned me in. I don't hate her or wish anything bad on her for that. Of course, from my perspective at the time, it was just horrible. But having gone to, look, when you go into prison, you have a certain way of thinking, right? Do you not think that by the time you were done with prison, you'd kind of change your way of thinking? Like, you ever notice these guys that get like a life sentence for something they didn't do? And you would think, then they find out with DNA or something, they didn't commit the rape and murder. It wasn't them. And they get released 25 years later. You'd think they walk out of prison and be like, fuck the police, fuck these fucking bad. They usually, 99% of the time, they walk out and they're like, listen, I'm just glad I'm out. I don't hate anybody. I just, things happened. It was wrong. You get out and you're just so thankful to be given a second, chance. And to me, my way of thinking, I had such a criminal mentality at the time that when I finally, I went into prison, I started writing guys' stories, crime stories. I had a few books published, but you start studying and reading about crime and about the victims and you start taking on a different mentality. And so to me, I don't want to do the whole, I'm reformed, I'm a good person now, I'm not doing all that. Just saying I have a different perspective and I don't dislike anyone that cooperated against me or contacted the authorities, or that's what a decent citizen does. And they did what they did. That's fine. Listen, I've actually friends with a ton of people that cooperated against me. Talk to them now, joke with them, everything. I got no problem with you.
Yeah, and some people would view the fact that banks are the biggest criminals in the world anyway.
Oh, man.
Shaking down society constantly. They view you as kind of a Robin Hood character who spent the money on himself, perhaps.